Lurid details of the murder of reputed Ghost Town boss Kendis Flowers in March of last year remained in the headlines for several weeks. The execution of the 26-year-old Mayflower Street resident set off a series of violent events in its wake, most notably an altercation following his funeral which resulted in sheer bedlam in that Southside neighborhood. In the weeks after the pre-dawn attack, during which Flowers was gunned down on Mopan Street, police arrested and charged 25-year-old Kevin Bodden. Bodden was arraigned despite his family's staunch belief that their loved ones was killed at the hands of GSU personnel. Tonight, the accused killer has walked away from that indictment. Flowers' grandmother, Sandra Uter, says that they are not surprised by the outcome of the case.
Well, from day one, I know Kevin Bodden may have walked. There is no evidence showing that he did it. The evidence that we want to see, because from what we hear, with people afraid to come forward, is that it's the policemen that did it to Kendis, that killed Kendis on a whole.
It's a firm position that has been held by the family since learning of his death on the morning of March 17, 2018. They maintain that Kendis was killed by a member of the gang suppression unit and that a firearm was simply placed in his hand afterwards to make it seem as though he had drawn the weapon on his presumed attacker. During his funeral service several days later, mourners were seen firing rounds into the air as the procession made its way in front of his stomping grounds on Vernon Street. That show of respect for the slain leader did not go over well with law enforcement, who stormed the vicinity immediately following Flowers' internment.
The GSU came in, we were mourning, they wanted to disrupt our mourning, they wanted to take somebody away, and the neighborhood stood up for that young man because it was uncalled for. So all we were doing is just taking up for or a member of the community. We weren't like inciting any violence, we weren't, them GSU, they could have got killed right inside this yard. Exactly. Yeah, they could have got killed right in this yard. None of the GSU got hurt or anything. You understand? All we were doing was protecting our fellow man from the neighborhood.
Notwithstanding the unfortunate incident, police closed in on Kevin Bodden as a suspected triggerman. Somehow, he managed to escape from custody and eluded capture for several weeks. His acquittal today confirms Uter's theory that he was only used as the fall guy.
Kevin Bodden was only used as a scapegoat. But for make we call after the policeman them back, this is the way they take the fall guy, they know he may be acquitted. But as I say, justice left to come.
Now, Miss Sandra, the murder of your grandson was a very sensational incident. I mean, a lot of things happened afterwards, including the GSU and other members of the police department running up in your property immediately after the funeral. And now it seems as if though perhaps you may not have gotten not even the slightest piece of justice that the family would have wanted.
That's exactly so. That's exactly so. But they thought that we were going to be intimidated by them, but we are not. They can do whatever they want to do, But we know in our hearts who killed Kendis.
And his killer remains on the loose tonight, despite the family's ostensible knowledge of who took their loved one's life.
I am not afraid to say. The Commissioner of Police is now stated that we can get justice, but I don't see any justice because they are covering up for the police department.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.